YouTube, Facebook, that sort of thing. If you are on Facebook, you can always head over to either the Steve Stine page or the Steve Stine guitar page if you want to throw something in the chat, if you might be seeing me somewhere else. So anyway, it's Monday. Welcome to a new week. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be talking about different zones to solo in. Hey, Jake. So basically what happens is when we solo, I often find what I try and do is get students in a proper mindset of understanding some things, different ways of approaching soloing or songwriting or whatever it might be. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about 4 different zones that I always try and tell people about. Hey, Sasuke, glad you can be here. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, I always call these whispering, talking, singing, and screaming. Those are the 4 zones. And there isn't an exact amount of zone. Jake says, how did I feel after the chip last night? I was just fine. You know, it really wasn't a big deal. And I shouldn't say that. It was extremely hot for a couple of minutes. It was incredibly hot. But after that, I was just fine. And we just sat around and talked after we got done and went from there. So, hey, Gerson. Hey, Kevin. Lisa, Sabato, Via, Andy, Mohammed, Kevin, Archive, Pete, Larry, thanks for being here, everybody. This is awesome. So basically what we're going to do today is, as I just said, we're going to talk about the 4 different zones. I'm not going to take a lot of your time today, but when we start a solo or we're in a song and maybe that song is you know, the solo starts in a breakdown or something like that. Hey, Andy. Everything about triads. Well, we're not doing triads today, but we will be doing triads soon, Andy. Okay? Hey, Omar. Hey, Adam. Hey, everybody. Polgia from Italy. Polgia. Brian. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so let's get started. So 4 zones. Maybe you're writing a solo, or maybe you're on stage and you're jamming, and then the solo comes, and what's happening in the music underneath you is going to determine oftentimes which zone you start in. That's kind of what I want to talk about, okay? So, hey, everybody. So what we're going to do is we've got 4 zones. We've got whisper, talk, sing, and scream, okay? Now, again, this is a relative term, but it'll get you thinking a little bit about how to approach the guitar. So let's say, again, for instance, I'm in the key of A doing whatever. Hopefully you can hear my guitar okay. When the solo starts, if I'm going to whisper, what I want to do is I want to be as low down on the guitar as I can. Okay, that's where my whispering is going to be. Okay, my talking is going to be kind of in the center. If you think of my A minor pentatonic, right? That's where I'm talking to somebody. So if I want to start off, and I don't want to be abrasive, right? I don't want to be screaming at somebody or you know, singing really loudly or something like that. I might just start off. Okay, thank you. Thank you for letting me know you can hear my guitar. I might start just in that area, right? Now again, there's no exactness to this. You just have to imagine it in your head. It's just a mindset. So if I start off going, that's kind of talking, right? When I come down here, that's more of my whispering, if you will, or my guttural sounds are coming from down there. And then we move into singing. Now singing, again, it's a relative thing, but if I start moving up in here, this area is a really great place to start if you're trying to sing in your solo. Drop down into talking, and then down into that whispering down there. And then the 4th part of this is screaming. Like you really want to come out of the gate loud and proud, right? Well, that's where you might come up here and start doing your stuff. Right? All that stuff's going to happen up in that area. So if you were thinking about a song that's, you know, doing a, let's see, let's just say it's something simple like, which you might have heard before. Right? If you come out of that going, it might be too much, right? In my thought anyway, it might be a little bit too much. Hey Cryptic, hey Frank, Andy, thank you so much. Fade Tonight, Yuva, Velocity, Marco, White Rabbit. Awesome. Cool. Arno. Cool. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. This is great. There's a lot of people. I just want to keep going with the lesson here so I don't take too much of your time. So if you think about that song, right? It doesn't start off with all that aggression. It starts off by talking. So it's just singing to you. And then, or, you know, maybe if you wanted something a little bit more off of that, you might go into... right? Into singing. That would be a nice place to start too. That wouldn't be way too aggressive. And then when I get up here, it gets a little bit closer to screaming, right? And that's how I've always tried to teach people to think about soloing. So as you're developing your entire fretboard and you're learning how the positions connect together and things like that, don't just think about the licks that you know or some of the patterns that you've learned, which are all great, but also think logically about where you want to start or where you want to end to kind of complement the rhythm that's happening underneath you. Thank you very much, Andy. Let's see here. We'll throw this up here. Josh says, I can talk pretty well first position, but need practice on singing in second, third positions. That's right. And that really brings up the next part, which is learning your fretboard, like developing your fretboard. And you know, there's just certain things that you do on this guitar that's really, really important that you try and get comfortable with. And learning how to do that is really important, is developing that fretboard, trying to figure out how to connect the positions together in a comfortable fashion. And I talked about this a while ago in another live session, but when you practice your positions up and down, which is a really great thing to do, okay? You definitely got to do that. But also, you want to learn how to use them in a creative sense. Don't just practice them up and down and that's all you do. Learn to practice them back and forth. And that sort of thing as well. I'm just looking at what people wrote here. But so as you're playing, you want to learn to connect them. And it doesn't have to be fast or anything like that. It's just trying to get used to being able to do those and connect them together how you like. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense to you. Let's see here. Perfect. Okay, we'll keep going here. Paul is here. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you, Gary. Steven's here. Hey, buddy. So if that makes sense, that's the best way of approaching this talking or whispering, talking, singing, screaming thing, is being able to move through those. Now, you might not be able to move sequentially. Maybe you don't know all your positions, so it's hard for you to, you know, move back and forth to find your way around. Maybe you have to jump around and that's okay too. Maybe you just start off by doing some talking. Right? And then you move up and you start doing some singing. And then you move up and start doing your screaming. Right? And then you come back down and do some talking again. And then some whispering. So if you just kind of think of it that way, it's a great way of being able to do this, where if we just concentrate from a guitar player's brain of playing licks and playing patterns and using all the positions and all these things that we think about, and again, I'm no different than you, I do the same things. But if we think about that all the time, we're missing out on trying to make a real connection to the music and making it sound more authentic by really responding. And if I use that same example, and hopefully I don't get kicked off YouTube for doing that, but... right? It's mellow. It wants you to come in and relax, right? At least for me. You know, I want to... You know, something like that. And then maybe I'll come in and start doing more singing. You know, whatever. I mean, whatever it is that you like, but you get the idea, as opposed to position 1, position 2, position 3, I got to do this, and I learn this lick. You know, if you just relax a little bit and think a little bit more about that, it'll make your solos connect better with the rhythm that's being played. So, thank you, Lisa. Lisa says, what does Lisa say? Love your analogies of using the voice to play. Makes sense and will always be easier to remember when soloing. I hope so. I hope that helps you. Okay? And Jerry says meandering helps. Meandering certainly does help. Learning to meander, and if you don't know what meandering is, you can just go on YouTube and look up my name and look up the term meandering, and you'll see what that is. But it's a great way of practicing your fretboard. Okay? So hopefully that helps you a little bit. I'm going to let you all go. Thank you so much for everybody being here. Again, do me a favor, if you haven't already subscribed to whatever channel, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, I sure would appreciate the support. And you can always head over to guitar-Zoom.com and check out my guitar courses and all that sort of thing too. So have a great week, stay positive, and try and practice a little bit of this in your playing and see what that does for you, okay? So everybody, take care, stay positive, and I'll talk to you again for sure next Monday morning, okay?